First contact fallout. The signal came on an ordinary Tuesday morning. Dr. Elena Santos was monitoring deep space transmissions at the SETI facility in New Mexico when her equipment picked up a pattern unlike anything she'd ever seen. The complex mathematical sequence repeated itself precisely every 127 seconds, with variations that couldn't possibly be natural phenomenon. "Someone is knocking on our door," she whispered to herself, hands trembling as she verified the signal again. Within hours, the transmission had been authenticated by observatories around the world. Within days, it had been partially decoded. Within weeks, humanity had its first confirmation of intelligent alien life. The Galactic Federation, a coalition of space-faring species that had apparently been watching Earth for centuries. The decoded message was simple: "We acknowledge your technological advancement. Representatives will arrive to discuss your species integration." No one expected the Federation ship to materialize in low Earth orbit just 72 hours later. United Nations Secretary-General Maya Okonkwo stood at the center of the hastily constructed landing platform outside Geneva, flanked by world leaders and military personnel. The ship that descended was sleek and silent, a curved metallic vessel that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The alien that emerged called itself Ambassador Xeran of the Ixalan, a founding species of the Federation. It had iridescent blue skin that shimmered in the sunlight, 6 limbs that moved with unsettling grace, and spoke perfect English through what appeared to be a small translating device attached to its throat. "Secretary General," the alien said, extending 4 of its limbs in a gesture that somehow conveyed both superiority and condescension. "Your world stands at the threshold. We are here to guide you through." The Swiss conference room, where humanity's fate would be decided, was neutral territory, but nothing else about the meeting felt balanced. 8 Federation representatives sat across from 12 human delegates, yet it was immediately clear who held the power. The Galactic Federation operates on principles of mutual benefit and protection, Ambassador Xeran explained, projecting a holographic map of thousands of star systems. Each member contributes according to their capabilities and receives benefits according to their status. Dr. Amir Khan, Earth's leading xenobiologist, noticed how the hologram color-coded worlds, the brightest stars representing founding members, the dimmest appearing to be recent additions. And where would Earth fall in this hierarchy? Secretary-General Okonkwo asked. Ambassador Xeran's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "As a newly discovered technological species, you would naturally begin as a protected world. This is for your own safety, of course." The terms were presented with practiced smoothness. Earth would receive Federation protection and limited technological exchange. In return, humanity would provide 40% of its rare mineral production, allow Federation oversight of all space development, and accept restrictions on interstellar travel. "This is protection in name only," whispered General Helena Rodriguez to the Secretary-General. "These are terms of surrender." Secretary-General Okonkwo kept her expression neutral. "Ambassador, we appreciate the Federation's interest in Earth. However, these terms require careful consideration. We request 48 hours to consult with our full governing bodies." Ambassador Xeran seemed surprised by the request, but inclined its elongated head. "Of course, the Federation respects your deliberative processes, primitive though they may be." As the Federation representatives departed for their orbiting vessel, Earth's delegation gathered in a secure bunker 300 meters beneath the Geneva Lake shore, a facility electromagnetically shielded against any potential surveillance. "They see us as primitives," General Rodriguez stated bluntly once the room was secured. "This isn't an invitation. It's a colonization with extra steps." Dr. Khan adjusted his glasses nervously. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours. The propulsion system on their shuttle alone violates what we thought were physical constants. But they don't know everything about us," said Dr. Santos, who had been brought in as Earth's foremost expert on the original transmission. "They've been monitoring our broadcasts, our internet, but I don't think they understand how humans respond to threats." Secretary General Okonkwo looked around the room at the assembled leaders. "What are you proposing, Dr. Santos?" "Protocol Omega," she replied quietly. The room fell silent. Protocol Omega had been established after the first confirmation of the alien signal, a contingency plan if first contact proved hostile. It was considered extreme, even paranoid, by many world governments. But they had funded it nonetheless. Protocol Omega would require immediate global unity, said Premier Lai of China. Something we have never achieved before. Which is precisely why the Federation doesn't expect it, replied President Alvarez of the North American Alliance. They see our divisions as weakness. Our greatest strength may be that they've underestimated us. After 12 hours of debate, the vote was unanimous. Protocol Omega would be initiated. When the Federation representatives returned, they found a seemingly humble human delegation ready to negotiate more favorable terms. "We understand our position," Secretary General Okonkwo said with perfectly calibrated humility. "Earth is new to the galactic community. We simply ask for a gradual implementation of resource quotas to prevent economic disruption that might make us less valuable to the Federation." Ambassador Xiren conferred briefly with his colleagues. "This is reasonable. The Federation has no desire to damage potentially useful infrastructure. We can establish a 3-year transition period." "Excellent," the Secretary General smiled. "And of course, we would benefit greatly from Federation expertise in improving our mining and processing technologies." The subtle shift hadn't gone unnoticed by Nexer, the Federation's security officer. His species, the Vril, had evolved as apex predators, and something about the humans' sudden compliance triggered ancient instincts. "Ambassador," he interjected, "perhaps we should verify the humans' claims about their production capabilities." Ambassador Xiren seemed annoyed by the interruption, but nodded. "A reasonable precaution. We will dispatch assessment teams to your primary production facilities." "Of course," Secretary General Okonkwo agreed readily. "We have nothing to hide." That evening, in the secure bunker, General Rodriguez updated the leadership. "Phase 1 is complete. They've taken the bait." On screens around the room, satellite imagery showed Federation shuttles landing at mining facilities around the world. Each facility had been carefully prepared. Production numbers artificially lowered, advanced equipment hidden, and selected personnel trained to appear less technologically sophisticated than they actually were. "How long can we maintain this deception?" asked Premier Lai. Dr. Santos stepped forward. "We don't need long. The research team in Antarctica has already made a breakthrough analyzing the propulsion system from the scans we took, and Project Prometheus is ahead of schedule." Secretary General Okonkwo studied the reports with a grim expression. "The Federation believes they're dealing with a divided planet of subservient primitives. They have no idea we've been preparing for this moment since we detected their signal." "And if they discover our preparations?" President Alvarez asked. General Rodriguez's face hardened. "Then we accelerate the timeline. Either way, humanity will not become a vassal state to alien overlords." Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Mikhail Volkov examined molecular structures that defied conventional physics. The Federation shuttle's propulsion system operated on principles that manipulated dimensional boundaries, not faster than light travel, but something even more profound. "They're not traveling through space," he explained to his team. "They're folding it." One of his colleagues, Dr. Johansson, looked up from her calculations. "And if we can understand how they fold space, we can unfold their advantages," Dr. Volkov finished. "Exactly." In orbit, aboard the Federation command vessel, Security Officer Nexer filed his report. "The humans are hiding something. Their compliance is too perfect, their questions too precise, and their information networks have changed since our initial assessment." Ambassador Xiren dismissed the concerns. "All new species attempt minor deceptions during integration. It's meaningless. Our technological advantage is insurmountable." "I'm not convinced," Nexer insisted. "Request permission to deploy deep surveillance drones." The ambassador sighed. If it will satisfy your paranoia, then proceed. But do not disrupt the integration process. The High Council expects this world to begin resource shipments within the quarter. What neither of them realized was that every word of their conversation was being monitored by systems they couldn't detect. Technologies developed in the shadow of Protocol Omega, using principles derived from their own transmissions. The game had begun, and humanity was playing by rules the Federation didn't even know existed. The leverage equation. 3 months passed with remarkable smoothness. Earth began modest shipments of minerals to Federation collection points, participated eagerly in cultural exchange programs, and accepted Federation advisors at key scientific institutions. By all external measures, humanity was proving to be an admirably compliant addition to the galactic community. Commander Eliza Chen watched the Federation transport ship depart Earth's atmosphere from her underground command post in the Gobi Desert. The vessel carried 15,000 tons of rare earth elements, precisely the amount specified in the latest Federation quota. Shipment confirmed departed, reported her communications officer. Federation oversight team has logged acceptance. Chen nodded, maintaining her professional demeanor despite the satisfaction she felt. And our special addition to the cargo. Microprobes deployed as planned, General. They'll attach to the transport's hull during transition and begin transmitting once they reach the Federation hub station. This was the 14th such shipment, each carrying hidden surveillance technology designed to map Federation infrastructure, decode their communications, and identify potential weaknesses. Protocol Omega's first phase, information asymmetry, was proceeding precisely as planned. On Mars, Federation Inspector Tavrix couldn't shake his growing unease as he completed his survey of the human mining colony. Something about the operation felt constrained. The humans worked efficiently, but their equipment seemed oddly primitive compared to the sophisticated communication devices they carried. This excavation rate seems low for a facility of this size, he commented to the colony director, Dr. Rashid. We're still adapting to Martian conditions, Dr. Rashid explained with an apologetic smile. Dust storms interfere with our equipment, and the lower gravity affects our extraction processes. Tavrix made a non-committal sound. I would like to inspect the northern quadrant again. Of course, Dr. Rashid agreed, though Tavrix noted a flicker of something, concern, crossed the human's face. The northern quadrant had been marked as a low-yield area in previous reports, but Tavrix's sensors had detected unusual energy fluctuations. As they approached, a sudden alert sounded throughout the facility. Pressure anomaly in Sector 7, came a voice over the communications system. All personnel implement emergency protocol. Dr. Rashid turned to Tavrix with practiced concern. I'm sorry, Inspector, but we need to secure the facility. Martian atmospheric breaches are extremely dangerous. But Tavrix wasn't easily deterred. My environment suit is rated for vacuum. I will continue my inspection. I cannot guarantee your safety if you. Tavrix moved with unexpected speed for his bulky frame, heading toward a sealed door marked Maintenance Access Only. Before Dr. Rashid could stop him, the Federation inspector had overridden the lock with his authority key. The door slid open, revealing not a maintenance bay, but a vast chamber filled with technology that no protected world should possess. Crystalline structures pulsed with energy, surrounding what appeared to be a dimensional fold generator, technology reserved exclusively for advanced Federation worlds. Dr. Rashid's voice hardened. You weren't supposed to see this, Inspector. Back on Earth, Security Officer Nexer burst into Ambassador Xaran's private chambers without announcement. The humans have deceived us, he hissed, projecting a holographic image transmitted from Mars. They're developing prohibited technologies across their system. Ambassador Xaran's multifaceted eyes widened. Impossible. Our assessment was wrong, Nexer interrupted. They showed us what we expected to see. Inspector Tavrix found a hidden facility on Mars before being detained by human security forces. And there's more. Our deep surveillance drones have detected massive energy signatures throughout their system, carefully shielded from conventional scans. The ambassador's coloration darkened with anger. This defiance cannot stand. Prepare a direct transmission to their leadership. In the Oval Office of the White House, President Alvarez received word of the Mars incident with grim resolve. They were bound to discover something eventually. The question is whether we've gathered enough intelligence to proceed to Phase 2. Secretary General Okonkwo, connected via secure hologram, nodded. Dr. Volkov's team has completed reverse engineering the dimensional fold technology, and Project Prometheus is operational at 3 sites. Then we're ready for their reaction, the President concluded. The Federation transmission arrived with none of the diplomatic niceties that had characterized previous communications. Ambassador Exorand's image filled screens in government centers worldwide, his skin now a dark purple, a sign of extreme agitation among his species. Human leaders, he began without preamble. Your deception has been discovered. You have violated multiple integration protocols by developing prohibited technologies. This constitutes a Level 1 infraction against Federation law. The ambassador's voice grew colder. You have 24 Earth hours to surrender all advanced research facilities and provide a full accounting of your hidden operations. Failure to comply will result in immediate military intervention and reclassification of Earth as a restricted world. The implicit threat was clear. Restricted worlds in Federation territory were essentially prison planets, stripped of all advanced technology and subjected to permanent surveillance. In the United Nations Emergency Security Council, world leaders and military commanders gathered to formulate humanity's response. They're threatening us with their fleet, General Rodriguez stated. The question is, do we have enough capability to present a credible counter-threat? Dr. Santos activated a holographic display showing the locations of secret human facilities throughout the solar system. Project Prometheus has achieved 87% operational capacity. The dimensional disruptors are functional at all sites, and our surveillance of Federation communications gives us leverage they don't expect. Then it's time, Secretary General Okonkwo decided. Initiate Phase 2. Across the solar system, hidden facilities powered up technologies that hadn't existed 6 months earlier. Beneath lunar craters, inside asteroids, and within the clouds of Jupiter, humanity's secret projects awakened. When the Federation's ultimatum deadline arrived, Earth responded not with surrender, but with a revelation that stunned the galactic community. A transmission originated simultaneously from multiple points in the solar system, broadcasting on all Federation frequencies. The face that appeared belonged to Secretary General Okonkwo, her expression resolute and unapologetic. Ambassador Exorand, members of the Galactic Federation Council, I speak for a united Earth. We acknowledge your ultimatum and reject it completely. Behind her, holographic displays showed massive facilities throughout the solar system emerging from camouflage, shipyards, dimensional research centers, and defense installations that had been hidden from Federation scans. For too long, the Federation has approached developing worlds not as equals, but as resources to be exploited. The terms you offered Earth were not integration, but subjugation, a pattern we have confirmed through our surveillance of your operations in other systems. Ambassador Exorand's face, visible on a secondary screen, showed shock giving way to fury. This transmission is Federation property. You have no authority to. We have every authority, the Secretary General continued calmly. And we have evidence. The broadcast shifted to show internal Federation communications, classified reports detailing how protected worlds were systematically drained of resources, kept technologically dependent, and prevented from achieving true independence. We also have leverage, Secretary General Okonkwo continued as the display changed again to show a network of devices positioned near key Federation transit points. These are dimensional disruptors, reverse engineered from your own technology. Each is capable of destabilizing the space-folding capability that your civilization depends upon for interstellar travel. On the Federation command ship, chaos erupted as systems reported multiple unknown devices activating throughout their transit network. Impossible. Ambassador Exoran whispered. They couldn't have developed this technology so quickly. Security Officer Nexar seized control of the communication system. You underestimated them from the beginning. I warned you their compliance was too perfect. The Secretary General's broadcast continued. Earth does not seek conflict with the Federation. We seek recognition as equals. We propose new terms, a true alliance based on mutual respect and fair exchange. Our representatives are prepared to negotiate immediately. She paused, her expression hardening slightly. Should you choose military action instead, be aware that our dimensional disruptors are already in position throughout your transit network. We can collapse key dimensional folds with a single command, isolating Federation worlds from each other for decades. The ultimatum had been reversed, and across the Federation, on worlds long suppressed and exploited by the founding species, populations watched the human broadcast with growing hope. A new galactic order. The Federation Council Chamber on Ixalan Prime had never witnessed such disorder. Representatives from 67 worlds shouted over each other as emergency sessions stretched into their third day. The human ultimatum had not only challenged Federation authority, it had exposed the system's fundamental inequalities for all member worlds to see. Order, demanded High Chancellor Vrax, his crystalline form pulsating with agitation. We must present a unified response to this human provocation. Unified, countered Representative Colossi of Tyradin, a mineral-rich world that had been classified as protected for over 2 centuries. Like the unified front you presented when stripping my world of resources while denying us technological advancement. Similar accusations flew from representatives of other exploited worlds. The Federation was fracturing along lines that had been carefully hidden for millennia. In Earth orbit, the Federation diplomatic vessel Harmony waited, surrounded at a respectful distance by ships that hadn't existed 6 months earlier. Humanity's newly revealed defense fleet. Aboard the Harmony, Ambassador Exoran faced the most difficult conversation of his long diplomatic career. Across from him sat not the compliant human representatives he had grown accustomed to, but Admiral Kamara of Earth's United Defense Force and Dr. Santos, now revealed as the architect of Protocol Omega. Your threat to collapse our dimensional transit network is unprecedented. Exoran began, his voice carefully controlled. The Council demands the immediate deactivation of all disruptor devices. Admiral Kamara raised an eyebrow. That would leave Earth vulnerable to the Federation fleet movements we've detected near the Oort cloud. Surely you understand our reluctance. Those deployments are standard security measures, Exoran insisted. Dr. Santos smiled thinly. Just as our disruptors are standard security measures, perhaps we should both reconsider our approaches. Meanwhile, in a secure facility beneath Geneva, Secretary General Okonkwo met with representatives from 24 Federation worlds who had secretly contacted Earth following the ultimatum. What you propose is revolution, said Delegate Mira of Proxima Centauri, a colony that had chafed under Federation restrictions for generations. The founding worlds control the Council. They control the fleet. They control established channels, the Secretary General corrected. But their power depends on systems that can be disrupted, as we've demonstrated. And their authority relies on the compliance of worlds like yours. Representative Jorex of Epsilon Eridani leaned forward. If we support Earth, what guarantees do we have that you won't become the new oppressors once the old power structure falls? It was a fair question. History, human history, at least, was filled with revolutions that merely replaced one form of tyranny with another. We offer technology sharing without restriction, the Secretary General replied. Open development rights for all member worlds, and a new charter based on proportional representation rather than tiered status. Across the chamber, delegates exchanged glances. What Earth offered wasn't just freedom from Federation exploitation. It was a fundamental restructuring of interstellar society. In deeper space, tensions escalated as hardline elements of the Federation military prepared to demonstrate that Earth's defiance would not go unpunished. Fleet Commander Zex, a veteran of dozens of pacification operations against recalcitrant worlds, had assembled a strike force of 30 warships. "The humans have overplayed their hand," he informed his captains. "Their dimensional disruptors are a bluff. No protected species could develop such technology so quickly." His flagship, the Indomitable, led the fleet toward Earth's outer defenses, a ring of satellites orbiting beyond Neptune that the Federation had dismissed as primitive early warning systems. "Entering weapons range of human defensive perimeter," reported his tactical officer. "Prepare to neutralize their satellites," Commander Zex ordered. "Show them the consequence of defiance." But as the Federation vessels powered weapons systems, the primitive satellites activated technologies that no one had anticipated. Dimensional fields enveloped the lead Federation ships, not damaging them, but temporarily shifting them into a parallel dimensional pocket. In an instant, half the attack fleet simply vanished. "What happened?" demanded Commander Zex, staring at the tactical display where 15 vessels had disappeared. His science officer worked frantically at her station. "They're still there, but phase shifted into an adjacent dimension. Some kind of targeted full technology." "Impossible," the commander whispered. A communication from the human defense fleet appeared on his screen. Admiral Chimera's face showed no triumph, only determination. "Commander Zex, your vessels have not been harmed. They've been temporarily shifted out of phase with our dimension as a demonstration of our defensive capabilities. They will be returned in approximately 1 hour." The Admiral paused. "We suggest you use this time to reconsider your approach. Earth does not seek conflict, but we are prepared to defend ourselves and our allies." News of the encounter spread rapidly throughout the Federation. For many worlds, it was the final proof needed. The founding species were not invincible, and the hierarchy they had maintained for millennia was not inevitable. On Ixalan Prime, the council chamber fell silent as reports of the failed military action arrived. High Chancellor Vrax stared at his fellow council members, the reality of their situation becoming clear. "The humans have not only developed dimensional technology independently," he stated grimly, "they've created applications we never considered. And they're offering to share these developments with any world that allies with them." Federation intelligence confirmed the worst. 29 member worlds had already signed preliminary agreements with Earth, establishing what they called the Mutual Development Compact. Ambassador Xiren, recalled to provide explanation for the diplomatic catastrophe, faced the council with dignity, despite his career's imminent end. "We fundamentally misunderstood humans. We saw their divisions as weakness, their questions as naivety, their compliance as submission. We were wrong on all counts." "They deceived us," accused one council member. "No," Xiren replied. "We deceived ourselves. We believed our own propaganda about protected worlds. Humans simply recognized the game for what it was and chose not to play by our rules." In Earth orbit, aboard the newly commissioned diplomatic station Unity, representatives from Earth and former Federation worlds gathered to sign the charter establishing a new interstellar alliance. The document formally dissolved the hierarchical structure that had defined galactic politics for thousands of years. Secretary General Okonkwo addressed the assembled delegates. "Today marks not an ending, but a beginning. The Galactic Confederation established by this charter recognizes the sovereign right of all sentient species to develop their potential without artificial constraint." She gestured toward the holographic display showing the first joint project, an open-source dimensional engineering facility where scientists from all member worlds would work together to advance space-folding technology. No more protected worlds, no more resource quotas, no more technological restrictions. Together, we step into a future of unlimited possibility. In the observation dome, Dr. Santos stood with Admiral Chimera, watching Earth rotate beneath them. "Protocol Omega exceeded even our most optimistic projections," the Admiral commented. "When we first detected their signal, many thought we should hide, try to avoid their notice altogether." Dr. Santos smiled. "Humanity has never achieved its greatest advances by hiding. We saw their ultimatum for what it was, not a threat, but an opportunity. An opportunity that has changed the galaxy, Admiral Camara agreed. Below them, the first ships bearing representatives from the former Federation Council approached the station. The old order had conceded defeat, requesting admission to the new Confederation with whatever status they might be granted. Humanity had not only survived first contact, they had transformed it, rewriting the rules of interstellar civilization in less than a year. The ultimatum had backfired in ways no one could have predicted, and the galaxy would never be the same.